Welcome, race fans, to Photo Finish. I'm your host, Steve-O. This is episode 9, your 2022 Belmont Stakes preview. As always, we are brought to you by Spinnable Sports. Spinnable Sports is your one-stop shop for all your sports news and notes. Check out spinnablesports.com. We'd also like to ask you to subscribe to this podcast anywhere you can get podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on YouTube as well. So as we've done the last couple of previews, I'm going to be breaking down the racing form as we go along. So you really get an added benefit by watching on YouTube. So we would encourage you to go do that. As I stated, this is your 2022 Belmont Stakes preview. It's going to be the 154th running of the Belmont Stakes on Saturday, June 11th from Belmont, New York. Before we get into it, just looking at the weather, could be a factor on Saturday. Right now they're calling for cloudy skies, chance of rain. So we'll have to wait and see. The track takes some water. Belmont Park's usually pretty good about sealing the track if there's a lot of rain. May not be a factor. We'll just have to wait and see Saturday in the undercard how the speed's holding, if it's holding. And we're going to get right into it. I want to pull up the racing form here. As always, this is using time form. You can get time form off daily racing form, drf.com. We're going to start by looking at a couple of the bigger races on the undercard. We're going to look at several Grade 1 races. First one is Race 3, which is the Grade 1 Acorn Stakes. It's going off at 12:33 p.m. This is a 1-mile dirt race. A couple of the horses that I've keyed in on and want to highlight a little bit closer is the 4-horse. It's the first one, Matera. It's a Brad Cox horse. Flavion Pratt gets the mount. Has won his last 3 races here. Had 2 second-place finishes before that. Very good speed figures. It's a Dolphin LLC horse who is always very competitive. This filly ran on Kentucky Oaks Day in the Grade 2 8 Bells race, won that race by a couple of lengths. Very good looking horse, 6-5 on the morning line. Definitely will be in contention. Another horse I want to take a look at, Echo Zulu. This is just a 5-horse race. Depending on what the odds look like, you may not get a whole lot of value in this race. I will say Echo Zulu, 3-5 on the morning line. We may be able to beat the favorite here. Echo Zulu is a horse that I do like. Steve Asmussen's the trainer. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Did not have a very good showing at the Kentucky Oaks. Came in 4th, even though her speed figures were decent. Won the Fairground Oaks by a nose back in March and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies race at Del Mar last year. So the horse has some talent up until Kentucky Oaks was unbeaten. But speed figure-wise, top speed figure 114, which she has done twice, was not good enough in the Kentucky Oaks. May be good enough here. I expect Echo Zulu will be the post-time favorite, but I don't think she is head and shoulders better than a couple of the other horses in this field. I mentioned the 4. I want to go back and look at a horse that we may get some value on. So the 2 horse here, Inventing, is a Ty Pletcher horse. Irad Ortiz gets the mount. Only has raced twice. Speed figure is not terribly impressive the first 2 times out, but 3rd race in, you would expect this horse to possibly take a jump. If the horse is going to compete, typically you'll see a couple starts in is where they start finding their form. This is a horse just based on the connections alone, I think you got to take a look at. She started out at 7 furlongs, went a mile last time out, again on Kentucky Oaks Day, on one of the undercard races, finished 2nd. And the note here is that she chased the pace early. So I think if she sits back a little bit, doesn't press too hard, 2 could factor in. Obviously on the morning line at 20-1, we don't know what that number is going to look like closer to the race. But 2 is a horse that I would take a look at, especially when you've only got a 5-horse field, you got to find value somewhere. That may be my value. We're going to move on. Race 4 is another Grade 1 race. It's a mile on turf. I'm going to just take a look at the best horse in this field very briefly. Speak of the Devil. This horse ran on Kentucky Derby Day on the undercard. blew away the competition at a 133 speed figure. That is a very, very impressive number. If she runs anywhere close to that here, then she should once again blow away the competition. So if I play any pick threes, pick fours early in the day, definitely looking to solo the 3 in this race. Let's go on down to the 6th race, which is your Woody Steve Grade 1 7 furlong dirt sprint. On paper, you've got some names you might recognize before. The one, Jack Christopher, 1 to 2 on the morning line, probably will be your post time favorite. This horse has just been impressive. 3 races, 3 wins. Speed figures getting better each time out. He broke his maiden at Saratoga in August of last year. Came back and won a Grade 1 race. Belmont, just 35 days later, had some health issues and took some time off until Pat Day Mile, which was on Kentucky Derby Day this year, and just blew the field away in that race. So Jack Christopher is your morning line favorite, as he should be. Papa Cap is one to take a look at. This is a Mark Cassie, Flavion Pratt horse. Very good numbers last time out, Pat Day Mile, but got beat by Jack Christopher, as you can see here. I don't know that he can contend against Jack Christopher, but a decent number there. 3 is Wit, Ty Pletcher, Irad Ortiz. Won the Bayshore his last time out, which was a Grade 3 race in Aqueduct. He's had a couple months off here, so he should be ready to go. Several wins under his belt. Good speed figure last time out. 4s Morello, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario. Had a very disappointing showing in the Wood Memorial back at Aqueduct. Did not get him into the Derby, but there were some very good horses in that race. 9 to 2 on the morning line. Let's look at Provocateur, Ty Pletcher, Luis Saez. It's 15 to 1 on the morning line. In his last 4 races, he's finished first or second. Granted, those were not nearly as big of races or quality races as he's facing here. The competition wasn't as stiff, but speed numbers are getting better each time out. Horse knows how to win. 15 to 1 may be worth a look. So those are the horses to look at. I think Jack Christopher's your clear favorite, as he should be. Might look at soloing him here. But if you're looking for a price, don't sleep on the 6. We're going to go over to race 7, which is your Grade 1 Phipps. It's going to be at 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt track. A couple of horses you might recognize. First is Latruska. This is a horse that's running a lot of races. Has won his last 2 and really has won basically everything before that, with a bad showing in the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar last November. But other than that, has won basically his last 10 races. So Latruska's 6 to 5 in the morning line. This horse you got to heavily consider here. This horse is going to want to run the lead. You can look here. Time Form Pace Projector says this race is going to favor horses on or near the early lead, and Timeform predicts Latruska will be on the lead. Search results trailing her, and then Malathought just behind if the race sets up how they anticipate. Latruska is going to want to run to the lead and stay there. On paper, you might think, oh, Latruska is going to win this race, but let's look at some of these other horses. I think this race could be wide open. The 2-horse Bonnie South is a Brad Cox, Flavion Pratt horse. Some very good speed numbers last few races out. You can see comparable to Latruska's speed numbers. This is a horse, 122 closing speed. So, if the race breaks down, the 2-horse is one I'd look at if the early speed does not hold. The 3, Malathought, Ty Pletcher, Johnny V. This horse won back in April at Keeneland, won a Grade 3, then finished 3rd at the Breeders' Cup in November. This horse has some speed, is a closer, this is a horse that likes to be on the early lead, but also has some closing speed. So it's definitely a horse that I would consider could certainly hit the board, if not win this race. 4 horses, Clairiere, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario. Again, a good closing speed number of 127. Finished second last time out. Won a race before that, although that was a $56,000 allowance race, so I don't know that I put a lot of stock into that race. But speed numbers are very good. So Based on speed numbers alone, I think Clariere has a chance. And then the other horse I'm most interested in, the last horse in this field, given we've only got a 5-horse field here, so this race could be wide open. 5 is Search Results. Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. Won the last time out, Grade 2 at Belmont here. That race is ran at a mile. And looking at Search Results' last few starts, they ran him a couple times at 7 furlongs, and he did not do as well. But as you can see, he's won his last 2 races at a mile. So this may be the distance for him. I think Search Results could certainly compete. Latruska is going to be your betting favorite, but this really could be a wide open race. We're going to skip on down to race 10, which is the race right before the Belmont Stakes. It's going off at 5:38 p.m. This is your Grade 1 Manhattan. It's going to be run on the inner turf at a mile and a quarter. A couple of horses I want to highlight. The 2-horse Gufo, Christophe Clement, very good turf trainer. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Had a 125 speed figure last time out on this track back in May, just 28 days ago. Had a 125 speed figure that time out. Ran a 124 speed figure time before that. Won a Grade 2 turf race at Gulfstream Park. So this is a horse 3-1 in the morning line. I think you can definitely strongly consider when you're placing your bets. Let's go down to 4-horse Adamo, Chad Brown, Flavion Pratt. Ran Kentucky Derby Day in the Turf Classic. Finished 3rd, had a 121 speed figure, which is not a bad number. Just got beaten by a couple of better horses that day. Finished 2nd time before that. This horse has come over from Ireland. Let's look at the 7-horse Tribune, French horse, Chad Brown, Manny Franco. He raced in the Turf Classic as well. Back on Kentucky Derby Day, finished 5th. Ran a 120 speed figure. Had some really fast fractions early in that race. Just didn't have enough to hold on. But just speed number wise alone, you got to consider him. Does have a couple wins under his belt. 8-1 in the morning line. The 7-horse could be a factor. Let's look at the 8 Highland Chief. This is a horse that raced here as well back in May and won his last time out. Had very good speed number of 123. Again, he did win that Grade 1 last time out on this same inner turf course. So I think Highland Chief could definitely compete. Let's look at the 9 Santine. This is a Walsh-Gaff-Leone connection. Very good speed figures. 127 last time out, which was on Kentucky Derby Day. He won the Turf Classic against a couple of the other horses in this race. So I think the 9's a horse you got to take a look at. Channel Maker, 10. This is an 8-year-old horse who has ran forever. Bill Mott is the trainer. Luis Saez gets the mount. This horse has made 44 starts. If you look back here at his last few races, you have to go back to October of 2020 when he got his last win until his last race, which was in Keeneland in April, which he won. Channel Maker, 8 years old, could absolutely win this race. Look at his speed figures, even though he wasn't getting wins in some very high dollar races, his speed figures really have not dropped off. A little bit all over the board, which is not what you want to see, but they're all consistently 115 or above. So I think Channel Maker's speed figures are good enough for him to compete with the horses in this race. I don't know that he'll win, but just a horse you like to see at 8 years old, still running, still making money for his owners. That brings us to the last race we're going to talk about, which is your 2022 Belmont Stakes. This is running a mile and a half on dirt. Going to go off at 6:44 p.m. on Saturday. We're going to cap this race together. You're looking at this racing form with me for the first time. First horse is We the People. Flavion Pratt gets the mount. This horse had a very, very good showing at the Peter Pan, which is a Grade 3 race at Belmont Park last time out. That was on May 14th. Won by 10 lengths. This horse just went to the lead, stayed on the lead, and never gave it up. He's 2-1 in the morning line. I've heard a lot of people talk about him as the favorite in this race. And I mean, if you just look at his last time out, I think he's favored for a reason. He has 2 other wins dating back to February and March of this year. But I'm not sold on this horse, and the reason why is his performance in the Arkansas Derby. That was at Oaklawn Park. He dealt with traffic, couldn't get to the lead in that race. Did not run well against some very good competition. Cyberknife won that race. Barber Road, who's in this field, came in second. Secret Oath, who I thought was a very good horse, who I would have liked to have seen in the Kentucky Derby. As you remember, she won the Kentucky Oaks and came back in the Preakness Stakes. Some very good horses that beat We the People. I don't know that We the People faced the same level of competition last time out. I'm not throwing him out entirely. I'm just not sold on him as a 2-1 morning line favorite. Going on to the 2-horse Skippy Longstocking, Saffie Joseph, Manny Franco connections. This horse did race in the Preakness just a few weeks back, finished 5th. 118 speed figure is not bad, but that was by far his best speed figure. This horse was ran in the Wood Memorial. For that, finished 3rd to Mo Donegal early voting. I don't dislike this horse. I just don't think this horse is going to factor in my opinion. Going on to the 3 Nest, 8-1 in the morning line, Ty Pletcher, Jose Ortiz. She ran in the Kentucky Oaks. Last time out, got beat by Secret Oath by 2 lengths. 114 speed figure, not bad. The last 2 races were on wet, fast tracks for her. So if the track does take some water and it's a little bit wet, this horse has ran her last 2 races on wet surfaces. Something to keep an eye on with a second and a first place finish. This horse has won several races in the past. This is a horse that could factor into it. Just want to go see what the time form pace projector says. Obviously, We the People, they project it's going to be on the early lead. Then they have the 5, the 2, 7, and 3 just off. I thought the 3 may try and be a little bit closer, but 3 is a horse you got to take a look at. 4, Rich Strike, your Kentucky Derby winner. Eric Reed, Sonny Leone. What a feel-good story coming in, drawing into the race day of, and just winning as a long shot. I believe 80-something to 1. Really was unexpected. But unfortunately for me, prior to the Kentucky Derby, he just hadn't shown a whole lot. Only had 1 win before that in a $30,000 claiming race. Finished 3rd Turfway Park in the Grade 3 JR Stakes race. After 1 race, I'm not sold. I mean, this horse had the ride of its life in the Kentucky Derby to win that race after the early speed absolutely collapsed. I'm not sold on Rich Strike, 7-2 in the morning line. I expect he will be fairly popular. I don't know that I'm going to have any of them. Number 5, Creative Minister, 6-1 on the morning line. Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez Jr. This horse ran in the Preakness, finished 3rd to Epicenter in early voting. Didn't have a bad race. 123 speed figure was really good. That was his best speed figure by far, though, to date. I don't hate the 5. I may throw the 5 into some exotics, but he's not one of the horses that I'm really going to key on. The 6 horse, Mo Donegal, Ty Pletcher, Irad Ortiz. This is the horse that I really have my eye on. 5-2 in the morning line. He's a closer. Finished 5th at the Kentucky Derby. Did not come back and run the Preakness. He is rested. Won the Wood Memorial before that. He did not have a bad trip. He did have a bad trip at the Kentucky Derby. That was the problem. You see, he kind of broke, the notes are he broke awkward at the Kentucky Derby. He was 17th out of the gate, and he really recovered well. Problem is, there's just too many horses, too much ground to make up. So I don't hate his Kentucky Derby trip. 115 speed figure is not bad. He's got the speed to win this race. Very well could come down to We the People trying to run away with it, and Mo Donegal chasing him down. 2 more horses in this race. The 7 Golden Glider, 21 in the morning line. Mark Casse, Dylan Davis gets the mount. Not a whole lot here. couple of wins at very low allowance races. Ran some grade 3s, grade 2, grade 1. Ran the Bluegrass Stakes back at Keeneland. Finished 4th to Zandon and Smile Happy and Emmanuel. Got beat by We the People last time out in the Peter Pan that I previously mentioned, where We the People just blew them away. I'm not going to be using the 7. Last horse to look at, Barber Road. John Ortiz is your trainer. Joel Rosario is your jockey. 10 to 1 in the morning line. The time form numbers has him as a mid-pack runner. 115 closing speed. The one thing that really catches my eye is if you look at his race history here, you can see a steady increase in his speed figures. We go from 50 all the way up to 113 last time out. I mean, that's typically what you like to see, a horse improving in the speed figures. He was in the Kentucky Derby, ran second in the Arkansas Derby, ran third in the Rebel Stakes. He's running some very good races. Hasn't quite got it done, but I think this horse, speed figure wise, keeps improving every time out. I think the 8, especially at a price, could absolutely hit the board. I'm going to be using the 8 in some exotics. And yep, that is your field for the 2022 Belmont Stakes. So how am I playing it? The horse that I like the most is Mo Donegal. He had a bad trip at the Kentucky Derby, but speed figure wise, pedigree wise, I like Mo Donegal. I'm going to have the 6 to win. I'm probably going to be playing some exacta boxes, try boxes, some combination of Mo Donegal with Barber Road. I like Barber Road. I can't ignore the 1. I probably will have the 1 in some try boxes just in case We the People gets to the lead and keeps it. So my initial lean is 6-8 exacta box, 6-8-1 try box. Might throw the 5 into some exotics. Maybe play the 6 to win over, say, 8-1-5 in a straight trifecta, in some combination of that. But that is how I see the race. Should be a fairly competitive Belmont Stakes. I don't see anybody running away with it. We've capped some of the other races on the card. Overall, it should be a very good day of racing. I believe FS2 has all the undercard action with the Belmont Stakes switching over to NBC for the main event. So hope everybody has enjoyed this episode of Photo Finish. Ask you to hit the like button, subscribe to our podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel for Spinnable Sports, and hope that everybody makes a lot of money on Saturday. Until next time, this has been Photo Finish. I'm your host, Steve-O.